Welcome to Let's Talk Wellness Now, where we bring expert insights to you. Please note that the views and information shared by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Let's Talk Wellness Now, its management, or our partners. Each affiliate, sponsor, and partner is an independent entity with its own perspectives. Today's content is provided for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered specific advice, whether financial, medical, or legal. While we strive to present accurate and useful information, we cannot guarantee its completeness or relevance to your unique circumstances. We encourage you to consult a qualified professional to address your individual needs. Your use of information from this broadcast is entirely at your own risk. By continuing to listen, you agree to indemnify and hold Let's Talk Wellness Now and its associates harmless from any claims or damages arising from the use of this content. We may update this disclaimer at any time, and changes will take effect immediately upon posting or broadcast. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you find this episode both insightful and thought-provoking. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm going to show you exactly how religious trauma and chronic stress rewire your brain and body at a cellular level and why your doctor will never connect the dots. I've treated patients for 2 decades who spent years in high control environments, and the pattern is always the same. Thyroid dysregulation, adrenal collapse, autoimmune flares, and neurological symptoms that conventional medicine calls anxiety. And the labs don't lie. The timeline doesn't lie, but nobody connects them. By the end of this episode, you'll understand the biological mechanism behind spiritual abuse and know exactly what tests to demand when trauma lives in your body. But because when 1.5 million people watch Jinger Vulu talk about leaving the Duggar family's belief system, they're not watching for the theology. They're watching because they recognize the aftermath in their own bodies. The neurobiology of control and what happens when you're never safe. And here's what conventional medicine misses. They think trauma is an event. It's not. Trauma is what happens when your nervous system never gets to leave threat mode. When you grow up in a high controlled environment, religious, family, corporate, doesn't matter. Your brain interprets constant surveillance, rigid rules, and fear of punishment the same way it interprets a physical predator. Your amygdala stays lit. Your HPA axis never shuts off, and cortisol becomes your baseline. Dr. Daniel Amen's brain imaging work shows this clearly, and people who've experienced prolonged psychological stress show the same overactive amygdala and underactive prefrontal cortex as combat veterans do. Your brain can't tell the difference between I might get attacked and I might get shunned by my community if I wear the wrong thing. Think of it like this. Imagine you're driving a car and someone tells you to keep your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. That's what your nervous system is doing. You're trying to function, to perform, to be perfect, but your body is screaming danger signals 24/7. And eventually something breaks. Usually it's your thyroid or your gut or both. What conventional medicine does, they run a TSH. It comes back normal at 3.8 and they send you home with an SSRI. What do I do in my practice? Well, we run a full thyroid panel, TSH, free T3, T4, reverse T3, TPO antibodies, thyroglobulin antibodies, because I know that chronic stress doesn't just suppress thyroid function. It creates a conversation problem. Your body starts making reverse T3 instead of active T3 as a protective mechanism. You're not anxious. You're hypothyroid and your doctor missed it. I'm Dr. Deb. Welcome to Let's Talk Wellness Now, where we uncover the true medical mysteries. I am your medical detective, and today we are talking all about trauma and medical physical symptoms. So grab your cup of coffee or tea, settle in, and let's get going.
Tired of being told your labs are normal, but you still feel terrible? At Serenity Healthcare Center, we don't chase symptoms. We find the root cause. Hormones, gut health, autoimmune conditions, chronic fatigue, brain fog. We use cutting-edge functional and regenerative medicine to get you real answers and a real path forward. This isn't your average doctor's office. This is medicine the way it was meant to be practiced. You deserve to feel like yourself again. Visit serenityhealthcarecenter.com to book your appointment today.
All right, welcome back. So let's talk about the gut-brain axis. Why leaving makes you sicker before you get better. So here's the part that breaks my heart. Patients come to me 6 months after they left a toxic situation, and they're worse than they were before. The fatigue is worse, the brain fog is worse, the autoimmune flares are worse, and they think they made a mistake by leaving. They didn't. Your body finally felt safe enough to allow you to fall apart. And Dr. Kharrazian's work on the gut-brain immune axis explains this perfectly. When you're in chronic survival mode, your body suppresses inflammation temporarily to keep you functional. It's called stress-induced immunosuppression. You're running on adrenaline and cortisol, and your immune system is on mute. It's not getting any signal. But the second you remove the stressor, the second you leave the controlling relationship, the rigid belief system, the abusive workplace, your nervous system finally breathes. It exhales. And all that suppressed inflammation comes roaring back. And that's when Hashimoto's gets diagnosed. That's when Crohn's flares. That's when the POTS symptoms show up. So picture a dam that's been holding back the water for years. You don't fix it by keeping the dam in place. You have to release the pressure, but you have to do it carefully, or the flood destroys everything downstream. What conventional medicine does, they treat each symptom separately. Synthroid for thyroid, prednisone for the gut, beta blockers for POTS, and they never ask why it all happened in the first place. So what do? We map the timeline. We look at the cortisol panels and we see the patterns, not a one-time serum cortisol that tells us nothing. We assess gut permeability with zonulin and LPS antibodies. We check for reactive Epstein-Barr because chronic stress suppresses your ability to keep latent viruses in check. And then we rebuild the terrain. We don't just suppress the symptoms. This is where the mitochondria collapse and why you can't just rest more. This is where patients get angry because they've been told for years that they just need to manage their stress better, exercise more, sleep more, and they've tried and it doesn't work. That's because the damage isn't at the level of behavior. It's at the level of cellular energy production. And Dr. Dane Goodenough's research on plasmalogens shows that chronic psychological stress depletes the phospholipids in your mitochondria that is needed for primary function. Your cells literally can't make energy efficient anymore. And now you're tired because you're not tired because you're not trying hard enough. You're tired because your mitochondria are broken. Now think of it like trying to charge your phone with a frayed cable. You can plug it in all you want. The connection is damaged at a structural level. And here's what makes it worse. High cortisol for years depletes pregnenolone, the mother hormone that makes all of your other hormones. So now you've got mitochondrial dysfunction and hormone dysregulation. Your progesterone tanks, your DHEA tanks, your testosterone drops, and your doctor runs a basic hormone panel that says, well, you're perimenopausal. What do you expect? What conventional medicine does? They tell you to take a multivitamin or get more sleep. What we do, we measure mitochondrial function with organic acid testing. We assess plasmalogen levels. We look at pregnenolone, DHEA, and a full sex hormone cascade, not just estrogen and progesterone in isolation. And then we support the mitochondria and we repair the targeted phospholipids. CoQ10, bioidentical hormone replacement when indicated, not synthetic progestins that makes everything worse. Now, the real key to making all of this work is the peptides and the regeneration option and what's possible when you rebuild that foundation. We're going to talk about this as soon as we come back from a word from our sponsor. I'm going to give you guys a peptide segment that you can put in here as an ad. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about peptides and the regenerative option and what is actually possible. So once we've stabilized the thyroid, we calmed down the gut inflammation, we've supported the mitochondrial function with some of the best supplements on the market, some patients are ready for next level regeneration. I'm talking about peptides like BPC 157 for gut repair, TA1 for immune regulation, cerebrolysin for neurological recovery. And when there's been significant cognitive impact from chronic stress, these can be essential. Now, point taken, these are not FDA approved for their uses, and I want to be clear about that. But the clinical outcomes I see in our practice using these are profound. There's also exosome therapy and targeted stem cell applications for patients with severe autoimmune conditions that haven't responded to functional protocols alone. This is not first-line treatment. This is for the patients who've done everything right and still aren't where they want to be. These are not FDA-approved therapies, so you need to be well aware of that. They are not meant to cure any disease. They are meant to help feed the body what it needs in order to function better. Now, working with people who have had traumatic brain injuries and non-traumatic brain injuries from the stress that we're talking about, we can use various peptide protocols that give the framework for understanding how to repair neurological damage from chronic psychological stress. The brain doesn't distinguish between a concussion from a blow on the head or years of emotional abuse. Both create neuroinflammation and both disrupt the blood-brain barrier. Both benefit from targeted peptide therapy. What conventional medicine does once they run out of pharmaceutical options is tell the patient to learn to live with it. Now, we consider regenerative options when the foundation is stable. We can use peptides strategically, not as a Band-Aid. We track inflammatory markers like IL-6, TNF-alpha to measure progress, and we give your body the tools it needs to actually heal, not just suppress symptoms indefinitely. So let's come back to where we started. When you watched that first Vulu video story and something in your chest tightened, that wasn't just empathy. That was recognition. You know what it feels like to perform, to suppress, to keep yourself small, to stay safe. And you know what it costs you. The thyroid that crashed, the gut that never recovered, the fatigue that no amount of sleep fixes. But here's what I need you to hear. The fact that your body fell apart after you left doesn't mean you were wrong to leave. It means your body finally felt safe enough to tell the truth. And now we listen. We test what conventional medicine ignores. We build what chronic stress destroyed. We don't manage symptoms. We restore function. And if you're ready to stop being told that your labs are normal while your body is screaming, here's what I want you to do. Text the clinic at 262-8640, and one of our team will get you scheduled. We'll walk you through your timeline, run the labs that actually matter, and build a protocol that addresses root cause, not just the surface symptoms. For those who prefer to book online, you could also visit us at serenityhealthcarecenter.com. That link will be on your screen, and your body has been trying to tell you something for years. It's time someone finally listened. Thank you for watching this episode. I am Dr. Deb. I look forward to meeting with you. Until next time, let's talk wellness now.